This person hopes to marry you. They are not looking for a trophy, a temporary thrill, or someone who will simply fill an empty place in their life. They want to marry you because somewhere deep inside, they feel a genuine calling to protect, support, and nurture a heart that has already experienced more than most people could ever understand. Right now, you remain in their thoughts, held there by a quiet, steady, and deeply serious kind of love. It is the sort of affection that does not need to speak loudly or constantly seek attention. Instead, it is patient, observant, considerate, and formed with the intention of lasting. They naturally notice your laughter. But they also notice those moments when you become silent. They recognize the remarkable resilience you carry, the way you continue moving forward while carrying burdens that almost no one else knows exist. Watching you handle all of that awakens something powerful within them, creating a quiet determination to make your life gentler and your struggles somewhat easier. This is not being motivated by a passing fantasy or an emotional impulse that will disappear by tomorrow. Their feelings are mature, grounded, and deeply deliberate. They do not imagine marriage because of social approval, recognition, status, or because they want other people to admire what they have. Instead, they imagine commitment because they want something far more meaningful. They want to walk beside you and support you in the places where genuine support truly matters. When they picture a future with you, they think about how they can honor you, treasure you, and gently help heal the hidden wounds you have carried for such a long time. They envision a real partnership built through trust, patience, emotional security, and the kind of understanding that grows when someone truly recognizes your soul rather than simply noticing your appearance or outward personality. If you are still here listening, perhaps you are one of those rare people who is willing to face the deeper truths that many others spend their entire lives avoiding. Most people will scroll past a message like this, not necessarily because it means nothing to them, but because sometimes the truth reaches a place inside us that feels almost too personal to admit. Something within these words may already be awakening a deeper feeling inside you. Subscribe to The Hidden Self right now and turn on your notifications, because what you are about to hear is not simply about someone who wants to love you. It may transform the way you understand your own value and the kind of love you truly deserve. This person sees much more than the smiles you show the outside world. They recognize the parts of yourself that you carefully keep hidden. They notice the quiet struggles you carry each day without making an announcement about them. They understand how much strength it takes for you to keep functioning when your heart feels exhausted and incredibly heavy. They see the emotional endurance behind your peaceful exterior and the way you handle difficult experiences without allowing everyone around you to see the damage those experiences may have caused. Every time they recognize how much you have managed on your own, something inside them is deeply touched. Every silent struggle, every hidden tear, every private moment of courage, they notice far more than you realize. And instead of making them distance themselves, it draws them closer to you. It creates within them a deep desire to stand beside you. They do not simply want to be your partner in name. They want to become someone who genuinely helps carry what has been weighing on your heart, little by little, day after day. There is a profound understanding within psychology about what human beings truly seek from intimate love. What we need most is not superficial admiration, constant validation, or even overwhelming passion. At the deepest level, what we desire is to be truly and completely seen. We want someone to see us, not merely the polished version we present to society, and not only the strong, capable, unshakable version everyone has become accustomed to seeing. We want someone to recognize our inner world, the version of ourselves that wakes in the middle of the night, carrying thoughts we cannot explain to anyone. The part of us that learned how to smile after experiences that secretly hurt us. The part that continued giving love again and again while quietly wondering whether someone would ever return that same depth of love. This kind of recognition is one of the rarest forms of intimacy. It happens when another person possesses enough courage and emotional depth to look beyond the persona and recognize what exists underneath it. The person thinking about you right now may be that kind of witness. They are not simply attracted to what can be seen on the surface. They are drawn toward the whole of you. They want the unedited, unfiltered, sometimes exhausted, sometimes emotional, and deeply human reality of who you are. In psychology, the ability to fully witness another person, to recognize their imperfections without immediately turning away, and to love them without demanding that they become someone else, reflects a meaningful level of emotional maturity. This person appears to understand that kind of love, and they are directing that understanding toward you. They do not want to marry you because they believe you are something they can own or display. They do not view you as an accomplishment, a prize, or an achievement that proves something about their own value. They want marriage because they feel an inner responsibility to care for you, protect your peace, encourage your growth, and help make some of the emotional weight you have carried feel lighter. Their love is not reckless. It is not rushed. It is steady, intentional, patient, and willing to develop naturally. They understand that healing does not take place overnight. They know trust has to be built carefully, that emotional safety must be earned, and that old wounds cannot simply be commanded to disappear. They are willing to walk beside you through every season, giving you the time you need to release what no longer belongs in your future and slowly replace old fear with warmth, stability, and security. They want to create a space where your heart can finally relax. A place where you do not have to constantly defend yourself, prove your value, hide your feelings, or pretend that everything is okay when it is not. They want your heart to feel protected, respected, appreciated, and deeply cherished. They notice the things other people fail to see. Most people may only notice the calm, capable version of you, the composed face you have learned to present to the world. But this person looks underneath that surface. They sense the subtle moment when your energy changes, the tiny pause before you answer a question, the difference in your voice when something is troubling you, or the slight way you retreat inward even while saying that nothing is wrong. They have become attentive to these details because you matter to them. They recognize the emotional endurance you developed through heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, uncertainty, and long stretches of time when you may have felt completely alone. They understand the courage it takes to continue loving, continue hoping, and continue participating in life, even after life has given you reasons to become guarded. And through that understanding, something quiet but powerful has grown within them. Devotion. Not an obsessive form of devotion that attempts to control you, but a patient willingness to remain beside you while you move through your own journey. This is not the kind of love that observes your pain from a comfortable distance and simply offers empty words of sympathy. It is a love that moves closer. It reaches out. It remains present. It communicates, even without directly saying the words, that what you have carried does not have to be carried by you alone anymore. This person wants much more than a surface-level connection. They want emotional depth, genuine empathy, honesty, loyalty, and a bond that honors every chapter of your history. They imagine a relationship where happiness and sadness can exist side by side without either person feeling ashamed of what they are going through. They imagine being able to celebrate your happiness without jealousy and sit beside you during your sadness without immediately trying to fix it, dismiss it, or make it disappear. They want your vulnerability to be received with compassion instead of criticism. They want laughter and healing to share the same home because they understand that genuine relationships are not created from perfect days alone. Their love is not dramatic, theatrical, or created simply to impress other people. It is reliable. It is steady. It is the kind of presence that remains even when nothing exciting is happening. They imagine a life where your smiles become more frequent, more natural, and more sincere. They imagine the burdens that once seemed impossible beginning to feel more manageable because you are no longer carrying every difficulty by yourself. They imagine the wounds you once kept hidden finally being met with tenderness, patience, understanding, and sincere care. When they think about marrying you, they are not imagining some project where they need to change you into a different person. They are imagining a sanctuary where the person you already are can finally feel safe enough to breathe. They want your soul to experience what it feels like to be completely seen without judgment and deeply loved without having to perform for that love. They see the quiet courage it takes for you to keep moving forward after life has hurt you. They recognize the strength required to offer affection again after experiencing disappointment. They notice the resilience it takes to remain hopeful when many other people might have surrendered their hope long ago. They understand that your strength is not simply the fact that you survived difficult experiences. Your real strength is that those experiences did not completely destroy your ability to love. That is one of the qualities that makes you different in their eyes. They may wonder how someone who has been hurt so deeply can still carry so much tenderness inside. They may observe the way you continue to care for other people and realize there is something remarkable beneath the guarded exterior you sometimes show. They do not want to take advantage of that softness. They want to protect it. They want to become the kind of person around whom you do not feel as though you have to remain strong all the time. They want you to understand that sometimes you are allowed to put the weight down. You are allowed to have difficult days. You are allowed to admit that you are exhausted. You can tell them that something hurt you without being afraid that your vulnerability will somehow make you less desirable. They want to know the genuine version of you, even on the days when that version feels uncertain, emotional, overwhelmed, or simply quiet. That is why their desire for marriage feels different from a temporary attraction. They are not only imagining romantic moments or beautiful experiences, they are imagining ordinary life with you. They think about mornings, responsibilities, difficult conversations, unexpected problems, celebrations, changes, aging, personal growth, and all the little moments that eventually become an actual shared life. They want to know that when excitement eventually becomes routine, the connection between you will still remain. They are interested in the person you are when nobody else is watching. They want the late-night conversations, the comfortable silences, the shared responsibilities, the small acts of affection, and the reassurance that comes from knowing someone is genuinely present. They are not searching for perfection because they understand that perfection is not intimacy. Intimacy is being able to see another person clearly and still consciously choose them. They are willing to see your fears, your doubts, your habits, your imperfections, and the emotional history you carry, while also recognizing the beauty that exists beside all of those things. Perhaps one of the deepest reasons they want to marry you is that they sense your connection could become a place where both of you experience mutual healing. Not because either person is responsible for repairing the other, but because healthy love can create an environment where two people feel safe enough to grow. They want to be someone who encourages you instead of controlling you, supports you instead of diminishing you, and listens to your experience rather than constantly trying to speak over it. They want to celebrate your independence while still giving you companionship. They want to give you enough space to remain yourself while also creating something meaningful together. Their vision is not centered on possession, it is centered on partnership. It is about two people freely choosing one another and continuing to make that choice through all the changing seasons of life. And perhaps you have spent so much of your life simply surviving that the idea of someone intentionally choosing you can feel unfamiliar. Maybe you became accustomed to being the person who understands everyone else, the person who stays patient, the person who forgives, the person who gives second chances, and the person who quietly carries emotional burdens without asking anyone else to help. This person notices that pattern. They recognize that you have often been the strong one. And that may be exactly why they want to become a safe place for you. They want to give something back to the heart that has already given so much. They want you to discover what it feels like when care is mutual, when effort is balanced, when affection is consistent, and when love does not leave you constantly wondering where you stand. They are not interested in making you chase them for reassurance. They want reassurance to come naturally through the way they treat you. They do not want you questioning whether you matter to them. They want their actions to make the answer unmistakable. They understand that genuine love is revealed through consistency much more than through dramatic promises. It appears in remembering what matters to you, noticing when something has changed, respecting your boundaries, listening when you speak, and remaining present when circumstances become difficult. They want to build that kind of relationship with you. A relationship where both people feel secure enough to develop individually while continuing to grow together. A relationship where love is never used as a weapon, a bargaining tool, or a method of gaining control. Instead, love becomes a place where both people can feel safe. They may not always know the perfect words to explain everything they feel, but their intentions are becoming clearer within them. They are beginning to recognize that what they feel for you is more than attraction. It is a desire for a future. It is the desire to know you on a deeper level, to understand the experiences that shaped you, and to create new memories that do not erase your past, but instead help your future carry a different emotional meaning. They want to be part of the chapter in which you no longer have to question whether you are worthy of being chosen. They want you to feel chosen not only during romantic moments, but also in ordinary circumstances, on stressful days, during disagreements, through uncertainty, and throughout all the quiet moments that exist between the major events of life. Because anyone can tell you that they love you when everything feels beautiful. Real commitment reveals itself when life becomes complicated. And this person appears to be thinking beyond the beautiful moments. They are thinking about the entire journey. They want to understand what it means to stand beside you when circumstances become difficult, to encourage you when you doubt yourself, and to remind you of your strength when you temporarily lose sight of it. They are drawn to your depth because they carry depth of their own. They understand that a meaningful connection cannot be created through chemistry alone. Chemistry may bring two people toward one another, but understanding, respect, communication, trust, patience, and consistent effort are what allow a relationship to endure. They want those things with you. They want a bond that becomes stronger through honesty rather than weaker because of the truth. They want to be able to tell you what they feel without fear and allow you to do the same. They want both people to have a voice. They want disagreements to become opportunities to understand each other rather than reasons to punish one another. They want a future where your emotional safety is treated with the same seriousness as physical security. And perhaps one of the most beautiful parts is that they are not asking you to become less sensitive. They are not asking you to stop feeling deeply. They are not asking you to hide the parts of yourself that once caused other people to misunderstand you. They are drawn toward your sensitivity because it reveals your capacity for empathy, compassion, loyalty, and genuine connection. They see something valuable in the way you feel things deeply. They understand that your emotional depth is not necessarily a weakness. It can be part of what allows you to understand another person's pain, appreciate another person's happiness, and create a connection that goes beyond surface-level attraction. They imagine being able to come home to you and know that home is not simply a physical place. It is the feeling of being understood. It is the relief of knowing that they do not have to pretend to be someone they are not. They want the same freedom for you. They want you to feel that you can remove the masks you have worn for other people and simply exist as yourself. They imagine sharing the small details that other people might overlook. The quiet morning conversations, the familiar routines, the private jokes, the simple gestures that slowly become meaningful because they belong to the two of you. They understand that a lasting relationship is often built through these ordinary moments rather than through constant excitement. They want to know what makes you laugh when nobody else understands why something is funny. They want to learn the little things that make you feel cared for. They want to understand what helps you feel calm when the world becomes overwhelming. They want to know when you need closeness and when you need space. They are beginning to understand that loving someone means learning them rather than assuming you already know everything about them. They want to become familiar with the different versions of you that life reveals: the confident version, the uncertain version, the playful version, the serious version, the exhausted version, and even the version that needs reassurance. They do not want only the easiest version of you. They want the real person. And they hope that you will eventually feel safe enough to know the real person within them too. This is what makes their thoughts about commitment different. They are not simply imagining having you beside them. They are imagining building something with you. There is a difference between wanting someone's presence and wanting to participate in their life. They want to understand your dreams, not so they can control them, but so they can encourage them. They want to know what you hope to become, what experiences you still want to have, and what parts of yourself you are still discovering. They want to see you become more fully yourself, rather than asking you to become smaller so the relationship can feel comfortable. They understand that love should not require the disappearance of individuality. A healthy partnership allows two people to remain complete individuals while creating a shared life. They want to walk beside you, rather than walk ahead of you or force you to follow behind them. They want to celebrate your victories without turning them into competition. They want to comfort you when you struggle without making your pain about themselves. They want to be present when you succeed and present when you fail. They want to understand that life will contain both kinds of moments. There will be days when everything feels easy, and there will be days when both of you feel tired. There will be moments of certainty and moments of uncertainty. There will be celebrations and disappointments. There will be changes neither of you expected. But they are thinking about remaining present through all of it. They are not imagining a relationship where problems never happen. They are imagining a relationship where problems can be faced together. They want communication to remain open, even when emotions become uncomfortable. They want honesty without cruelty, boundaries without punishment, and disagreement without emotional destruction. They want both people to feel that their feelings can be expressed without fear of being mocked, dismissed, or abandoned. Perhaps this is why the idea of marrying you has begun to feel less like a fantasy and more like a possibility. They are starting to see the difference between being attracted to someone and being able to imagine building a life with them. Attraction can make someone think about you, but genuine compatibility makes them think about tomorrow. They are thinking about tomorrow with you. They are thinking about the person you could become together, while still respecting the person you already are. They are thinking about the memories that could be created, the challenges that could be overcome, and the quiet moments that could eventually become some of the most meaningful memories of your lives. They do not want your past to disappear. They want to understand it. They know that your past helped shape the person standing before them today. They may not be able to change what happened to you, but they want their presence in your life to demonstrate that not every relationship has to repeat the patterns of the past. They want to show you that love can be patient, love can be respectful, love can be consistent, love can allow you to breathe. And perhaps more than anything, they want you to experience what it feels like when someone chooses you without making you beg for that choice. They want their commitment to be visible through behavior, not simply through words. They want you to recognize their intentions in the way they show up, the way they communicate, the way they listen, and the way they remain steady when life becomes inconvenient. They understand that promises can sound beautiful, but consistency is what gives those promises meaning. So if you have spent years wondering whether someone would ever choose you completely, perhaps the deeper lesson is not simply about whether another person is thinking about marriage. It is about recognizing the kind of love you deserve. You deserve a relationship where your happiness is not treated as a threat, where your sadness is not treated as an inconvenience, where your sensitivity is not mocked, where your independence is respected, where your boundaries are honored, where your voice matters. You deserve someone who does not make you constantly question your position in their life, someone whose actions create reassurance rather than confusion. Someone who understands that love is not proven by how intensely a person can make you feel, but by how consistently they can make you feel safe.